Alright, welcome back once more, trying to get our train to the end, hoping for some better luck this time, or maybe some better play. Whatever gets us there, we will see. Let's go. We got Exile, Melting Remnant, and Exile Awoken. Could be interesting. Let's see, we got some Burnout, Heal, and Extension, the Razor Sharp Edge to buff attack, and Devotivery to get in the way of stuff. Cool. Our champion, Little Fade, of course, tends to do stuff when it dies, and then you can either try to bring it back, or one of the upgrades has Endless as well. Purifying Cleanse can be a good card to pump a Burnout tank, extend its lifespan in both ways, as it were. And of course, between the Razor Sharp Edges and the Root Seeds, we have lots of ways to pump our creature's attack, so that's good for any DPS units we find, though we do, of course, with this setup, lack any real healing outside of these, which means the traditional Awoken tanks work a lot worse here, so something to consider. Let's check out our artifact. Okay, so Channel Heart makes things better. We don't have any, so probably not a good place to start. And Mold Bracers, what we had last time, works okay. Can give us a little bit of extra armor, especially with the Votivery. That can actually maybe do something, so we'll take those and see where our champion lies here. Okay, so we either got the Endless version, which buffs itself but then costs more. So typically you'll want to play this once or twice in the front to die, and then put it in the back afterwards. Maybe save a spot for it on the final floor as well, so you can get DPS out of it on one floor against the boss, then it dies, and you bring it back on the final floor for even more DPS. So I generally like this one, and if you can get the card that lets you trigger extinguish abilities without killing your unit, obviously those are huge. This one is a little tougher. You can sort of play it in front of a big burnout floor and then get some buffs going that way. But without a way to immediately make him endless or anything, we're just looking at then reforming the unit over and over. And like, we do have these primitive molds to do that, but it's not a strategy I'm a huge fan of, so I think we'll just go for the Eternal Flame. It's a little easier to make that work. Alright, we're off to our first fight. Unfortunately, much like our last attempt, we don't have any good way to deal with backline units, so we might be struggling on some of these trials. Let's see here a moment. So we have to decide if we want to take the spike trial here. Again, the only way we have to deal damage is with our own units, which are going to die to the spikes, so that's unfortunate, and it might make this quite difficult. And if these guys get to the pyre, they're dealing extra damage because of the spikes. Now, that said, there's only the one floor at a time, so perhaps we can stem the flow, we can reform our units, we can heal them, and then also, thanks to our artifact, the second units in line should perform a little bit better, so we will turn this on. First trial is usually a pretty important one to take, even if it's going to cost you some fire health. So. Now, obviously, we're not looking to fight them on the bottom floor, given that they have all this rage we don't want to deal with right away, so we will have our champion go down here to die, but otherwise we'll be ignoring this floor, and unfortunately our opening hand not very good here. Most of our cards just don't do anything whatsoever. And once again, can't do anything with the collector because we can't get units back there, so here we'll place some train stewards at the top for the next round, and decide how we want to handle this floor. These guys are dealing 12 damage. So we could play a train steward along with the Fade in the front. Fade would take 2 hits, this would take 2 hits and survive, and then kill one of these dying. And I think I'm happy enough to do that. Eliminate a spike charge from getting to our Pyre, and give us a target for a primitive mold. Oh, we don't have the mana to do that, so never mind. It doesn't work quite as well as I would have liked. Let's see, these guys will be dealing 4 damage the following round. So, I might just go ahead and fit our champion up here, and I'm okay with him dying one more time, so I'll put him in the front. This means we should kill 3 up here, which is decent, so our Pyre takes a little bit of damage. These guys unfortunately still doing quite a lot, so let's see, we'll get armor once this dies, so that would be 1 hit, and then there's 12 more damage incoming. We'll be at 13, so that eliminates 1. Sure. Still nothing to do with the primitive molds, unfortunately, and I guess we may as well give something a buff. Now we got the boss coming in, of course. The root seeds, actually, now that I think about it, we can use as a way to kill some of these units, which is good. So I think we'll play this guy at the top, just to soak up some damage and give us some armor. And I will just leak 2 of these because I do feel the need to eliminate the ones from in front of the boss. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the edge on one of them. And we have a dead train steward now we can use if we'd like, which would have 13 health, so wouldn't live for too long, but might be worth doing anyway. So I think I will cast this. So no, we don't have a second molded necessarily coming up, so I will deploy both of these on the bottom, and then look to play our champion once more at the very top before the boss gets there. And I'm very bad at math. I can't play this now, so that might end up being a problem, but not a whole lot we can do about it. I think this guy, thanks to the armor, might be the better one to buff. You get the second Razor Short Bed, which is nice, but we do have to sort of just hope to redraw our champion. Because these train stewards are not killing this boss on their own. So we will play this guy to draw us an extra card. And then might as well deploy another buff. And our train steward is back as well. So we'll toss him down here, give him some extra burnout, so he gets to do a little bit of damage to this boss. Okay, and the game doesn't punish our big mistake. We get to play this guy in the back and easily clear the boss, so that's good news. End up taking 12 pyre damage, primarily from spikes. I think like 4 of it was from actual damage, so overall I think the trial was worth it. Okay, so we have Whiplash to extend burnout duration. Not currently something we're interested in. Let's see, what kind of banner are we going to here? We are going to a Remnant banner, so that could be something, though we already have the 2 Purifying Cleanses, and obviously lots of other ways to pump attack. So I'm not that interested in Whiplash. Dripfall, I think I mentioned before, I like this just generic decent card. And Hollow Drippings, again, we need... It takes a very specific setup for this to be good. Typically you want to use this on big burnout floor prior to the boss fight, but getting that to line up is difficult, so I don't love this card. So this is between Dripfall and just nothing. I think I will invest in a Dripfall, seems fine. You can sometimes use it to move your own units as well. Obviously Daze is bad in that spot, but it can help you stack a big floor, which is helpful. Then we have a Sting, and a Snare, and a Wildwood Sap. The Sting, not doing a whole lot. Might be good in like the next fight or two, maybe, when the units are still weak. The 10 damage matters, but it kind of gets in the way later. The Ensnare I'm actually sort of interested in. In lieu of great ways to kill the back units, we can at least keep them on the floor to force them to the front for the following round. And Wildwood Sap I generally quite enjoy. It's an excellent way to get an Awoken tank, to get some health triggers, but likely that's not a direction we'll be going here, just because we don't have any healing in the deck yet, so adding a single healing card doesn't accomplish that much. So I'll try the Ensnare here. And then we're off the Steel Merchant. Got a bunch of health upgrades, including the Large Stone. Kind of interesting. And again, I like the Steel Merchant early in the flag as well over going this way. Improving your spells and getting money doesn't really help you win this fight very easily. So. Ooh, okay, we got some interesting ones here. So the Lady of the House is actually, I think, a pretty solid unit. It just starts with very good baseline stats. We have our Purifying Cleanses to make it last a bit longer, and if it does die, we can bring it back a little stronger than before, so that could actually be a decent tank for us. The Legion of Wax, we can put a Large Stone on it and make it quite tough. It is lacking a bit in the attack department, though we can fix that with some of these buffs. And there was a Spikes upgrade back there as well, which makes it makes this plus a bunch of health on it kind of interesting. So I found the Legion of Wax tricky often to use, but I think with the Large Stone and the Spikes, and the fact that we can then pump attack, which they will keep as well, I'm gonna give this a go. It's very powerful, but it can sometimes end up being too slow. You know, before it breaks apart, it just doesn't deal that much damage to the units that are passing through. But I'm interested enough. And we'll give it the Large upgrade, which does make it take up the full floor, but that's fine. And then we'll get the Spike upgrade, which should carry through the small ones, I believe. Yeah, so that'll be good. So that means smaller units get dealt with just via the Spikes, and then large stuff we can hopefully just punch to death. Okay, so we'll apply that. I'm not really interested in putting health on the Votivary. We do want that guy to die, and obviously don't want to upgrade train storage because we're just looking to remove those. So. Okay, so I think we're off to a decent start here. This should really help with the early game, and we'll see what our plan is going from there. Obviously, if we can somehow upgrade that unit further through cave events or something, that would be great. So here they're coming out with 10 armor, and we have a haste granter. Boy, okay. So unfortunately, our plan was to have these spikes handle all of the small units, and of course with armor 10 that'll no longer work. And with the addition of haste as well, I think this might end up being just a little too dangerous. We'll just basically leak the entire floor, -1 clergyman that we kill, and yeah, and they're gonna get to the pyre with some stacks of haste still. No, they won't have any stacks of rage by the time they get to the pyre. Still not that much damage, but because we already have one unit that takes up a whole floor, the unit draft feels slightly less important than usual. I am a little worried here, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip this trial. And we did get unlucky with the bottom floor being smaller. Obviously, playing the Legion of wax in the middle where it's going to get skipped over is bad, so we'll have to deploy it at the top. And just kind of use our bottom floor to train up our little fade here. Yeah, if the collector spawns in the middle, we can play something there next turn, so we don't have to worry about that yet. I don't know how worth it is to play this. It draws you a card, but then it gets drawn, so you're not really gaining anything there. It gives armor, which is maybe helpful on a future turn for one of our stewards. I'll go ahead and deploy it. And then, as before, we may as well kill one of these guys. Actually, no, never mind. I'd like to buff our Legion up here, and these guys are going to die to spikes later anyway. Okay, so that's a fantastic place for it to spawn. These things will all die to spikes, and then we get to just clear this out, so that's great. Here we will once again replay our Tigray at the front to give something armor, and we have to decide if we want Little Fade to be dying again. Given the energy problems I ran into with it last time, I'm actually just going to deploy it at the back here. With the steward in the middle, though that might actually still not be enough anyway. I don't know, he survives, so that's cool. No reason to play anything here right now, we'll just keep buffing this guy for later. And again, this bottom floor isn't really that important. We expect the Legion to just sort of handle everything for us, but we might as well buff it up a bit. Get that going, still nothing to reform. Don't really want to give burnout to anything. So, might as well do this for the draw and call it a day. And it looks like we're doing an okay amount of damage to the boss. Yeah, nothing much to it. We'll just continue buffing and assume that floor will more than easily handle it. And indeed it does, without even breaking apart. So great. No room for our champion, that's okay. So just end our turn. Have a little spike battle, and we win. Okay, definitely don't need more versions of reforming. We're already don't really have good units to reform anyway, so these primitive molds are pretty bad. Molded, the better version is not going to be much better. The hollow dripping, same problem as before, and we haven't hit a unit that could really use it yet. This I'm a little interested in. Like I mentioned, I'm a little worried about damage with these guys. So having a exploding unit we can then try to bring back with the primitive molds can be kind of interesting. So I'll give that a shot, just to have a 50 damage spell that we can sort of buy back. Okay, this is interesting. So, as I mentioned before, we don't have a great way to hit the back, but since the last time we did pick up spikes on our Legion of Wax, which does deal 3 damage, so that deals with a decent amount of the units we care about. So, that said, I'm still likely to take one of these cards. The Glimmer does do AoE, which can be helpful, but I think the ability to move a unit and the cost reduction is not nothing. We'll make Fine Grasp instead. Alright, and now we have our option of a Relic and some Pyre Health, or a Magic Merchant and an Awoken Banner. We do need more units. We currently have a whole 1, so the banner is definitely something I would be interested in. That said, it wouldn't be completely insane to just duplicate this guy, especially if we could do something cool with him in an event, but I don't think 2 of these win the run as it stands, so we are going to need some help. even if we do duplicate him. The relic could be great. The pyre health would be nice, but we're in decent shape in that department. So the question becomes, which of our spells could maybe use upgraded? There isn't much here that I'm that interested in. Unfortunately, our spells just don't do that much as it stands, so making them, you know, do more or do the same thing for less is not super exciting. So this really is just the banner versus this is really just the artifact because we don't care that much about the pyre health. I do think the banner is important enough though, and maybe we get something out of this cave event that we want to improve, so we'll try this. Let's see what's in here. Permafrost, consume, and minus cost or anything for this. Not great. Yeah. Permafrost could be good on the snare maybe, though that's a card you don't really mind just firing off either. Let's go ahead and pick up our unit. We have, yeah, again, one of the awoken tanks that needs healing to really get going, which we can't do, and I think if we had picked up the regenerate card, it still wouldn't really be enough, so we'll just pick up the Animus of Speed. I don't love the unit, but maybe we can do something with it. Once it's improved, it can be okay. So let's check out our cave, see if we get a spell that we can maybe improve the merchant. Ooh, we get an opportunity to get a relic. This is interesting. Obviously, we don't have a large surplus of either money or pyre health, but as I said, I'm not that interested in what the magic merchant has to offer us, and we're in okay shape for health, so I'm gonna spend a little bit here and hope we get something good. Start with some money. Alright. No. I'll take my fire damage as well. Okay. Flicker's Liquor is generally good. Yeah, with this guy coming back every round, that can actually be really strong. We could potentially even set something up to where we can have our champion die more times than would usually be advisable. Make him cost some sort of amount, but then we can play our 0 cost Votivary every turn to then reduce him to 0 and get in our way in that sense. That could be interesting. I think that was worth spending it down our cash. And here with the little money we have left, I think I'm gonna Emberstone just one of these root seeds. They're just always a thing you want to play, even if the effect isn't that big. So, happy enough with that. Off the Daedalus. Double explosives. A little bit scary since we don't have a lot of ways to deal with them, except for one grasp. Once again, smaller bottom floor. Kind of unfortunate. And we need our big unit. We will probably set up in the middle this time and hope there's no haste. There is that, could be a little bit rough. So yeah, we're looking to have Little Fate die right away. Redrawing a little bit stronger. I wouldn't mind getting this up at the top. We just need a way to deal with this for this turn, but we have that in the form of the Razor Sharp Edge. So we'll just go ahead and poke that guy, eliminate it, and nothing else to do. So there we are. Alright, summoning another bomb at the top. It's a little bit unfortunate. But we do get our Legion here in the middle. We might look to make that free. So I think this turn, we're maybe looking to Drip Fall this. Oh, never mind, our minion is quick, so now that they can attack, this isn't even a problem. So we don't have to worry about that at all. So I will just replay him one more time. And then play Legion in the middle here. And we did get our spells to be free naturally, so we'll root seeds there, and do we need to drip fall anything? Doesn't really accomplish much, so well, actually, I think about it, we could drop our Animus down a floor. It doesn't need to attack this turn, so it doesn't matter. And this is quite a tank as it splits up into more units with a lot of extra health. My only concern is if we then find ourselves in a spot with haste units, our top floor is basically defenseless. So we're really putting all our eggs in this particular basket. And that scares me a little bit too much, I think. So I'm not going to do that. And again, you can see how without spikes, this would be just so much less effective, not eliminating these units, but as is, things should turn out okay for us. And yeah, now we have our opportunity to kind of cheat on mana as we've intended. The primitive molds, unfortunately, still not doing anything, but we can just Vine Grasp the Bomb, get these out of our hand. And this isn't even necessary this turn, but just to kind of show you what I was talking about, we can then play this guy, and this gets reduced to 0, which is excellent. And there's the haste I was worried about, as well as another big bomb. So we have a single razor sharp edge to either eliminate the haste granter or the bomb, depending if we're more worried about the damage here or leaking stuff through. I think if I play this here, we get to kill one of these guys, is that right? So you die there, there's 11 damage, yeah, so. So I can play this here, we get to kill one of these. Let's say we eliminate the bomb. 3 of you leak through. I play this at the top floor the next time. One of them gets killed, we take 2 pyre damage. That's probably acceptable, though this is probably fine too. If this thing breaks apart, it's really not that big of a problem for us. So I'm actually going to eliminate the haste granter here. Make sure these guys don't make it too far. And as usual, keep applying our strength over here. Still nothing to mold. Alright, this is a small problem, but luckily we don't need the defense of the Votivary on the bottom. That said, the double explosion is actually sort of an issue, so... but we draw an Entombed Explosive, which is sort of interesting. So I think what we do here is play him, and then play a Train Steward as well. And that should give us the protection we need. This is all fine. And then here we might as well get an Entombed Explosive rolling. That'll eliminate this immediately, and then we get an attack off as well. Fantastic news. That said, there's nothing good to ensnare. Just fire this up for the draw. Give you more attack. And then I have to decide if I want to get a Train Steward on this bottom floor. Yeah, I don't really see a reason not to. It'll tank ahead for our champion to do some damage. Alright. Okay, and now now we are looking to replay the Votivary to hopefully make our champion free on a future turn. Though, of course, remolding the Entombed Explosive has its merits, but we still have 3 slots up here, so we could potentially just do that in the future as well. And in the meantime, we'll be applying more root seeds. I don't expect the boss to even make it past this floor, honestly. And here we might as well play this, give it more burnout on a future molded. And yeah, get the Train Steward out of our pool as well. We can play it. And let's see, yep, the boss is dying as expected, so we can just end a turn here. Of course, this brace up into more things with more spikes and more attacks. It's great. Okay. So we made it through the boss, alright. Okay, we did find an Intent on Death, which is a really excellent find. Removing Burnout and Debuff, not a huge deal. Spreading Spores, often a card I enjoy, but I don't believe these guys carry spikes or regen through to their smaller forms. So not perhaps what we're looking for there. But yeah, this is just insane. If we can give that holdover, we can just infinitely pump our champion. It becomes ridiculous very, very quickly. So I'm taking that one. And then we have our choice of a sweep unit and 2 gold units. Let's see about that. Again, we have the spikes for eliminating some of the more problematic stuff, though some of the harder hitting ones could be a problem in the future, so maybe we want to sweep effect against that. And our final boss devours spells. I don't think that impacts our decision here too much. Something to keep in mind, though. So I'm somewhat interested in one of these two. Yeah, I think I will take the sweep creature. We have ways to pump its strength, and just means our Legion of Wax is subject to a lot less damage as stuff advances up the floors, which can be helpful. Yeah, and then we'll just want to find something to put in front of it. We are short tanks right now, which is a problem. We have our Animus of Speed that isn't doing much on its own. We have our champion who's going to get very strong. So we really need to find a unit to put in front of all this. And again, maybe the answer is to drip all our own stuff behind the Legion of Wax. But, you know, these guys don't really serve the role of tanks all that great either, so I will take the shell. And here we have another interesting decision. I think with the liquor, we definitely don't need energy. Draw is just always good. We have so many cards in our deck we don't really care about. But we also have these root seeds that let us draw additional cards. And the ensnare as well. So I might actually look at capacity here. It lets us play our champion behind the Legion of Wax, which is good. It lets us make sure this goes in the bottom if we need it to. Yeah, it lets us do a couple of things that I think might be helpful. Okay, now we have our choice of remove duplicate in 1 more unit, or a Merchant of Steel and some cash. The Merchant of Steel could be good, obviously to improve these units that we have, but as I mentioned, we do need a tank. Unfortunately, there's not another Steel Merchant coming up for, oh boy, a really long time. That's rough. So if we pick up a unit here, we're looking at basically just baseline units for quite a while. Interesting. The duplicate's quite nice. We can either duplicate the Intent on Death, which again is just ridiculous with our champion, or if we're feeling particularly spicy, we could duplicate our Legion of Wax and kind of give up on some of these other units, and just say, you know what, we're going to have 2 floors with a Legion of Wax that then gets a little fade behind it, and just sort of assume that's enough. I don't know if it will be, though. I legitimately am not sure if that is or isn't enough. It's fun. It's definitely fun. If we go this way, we can improve our units that we have. Maybe give this thing quick, make this thing a little bit better. That sort of gets our plan rolling. We get a little extra health. But you know what? Let's get a little spicy. Let's see what unit this is, and then decide our duplicate options from there, I think. Okay, so we have our Lady of the House and our Wickless Baron. The Baron, not incredible here, I think. Perhaps if we stick him in front of a Shattered Shell, he could rack up some triggers from it clearing stuff out, especially if we give it quick or whatever, but I think that's a little bit of a tough plan to enact. Lady of the House could be strong. Again, as I said, it has good baseline stats, could serve as a tank, and then we can reform it on a future turn, which is good. So I might take that and not go with the insane double Legion of Wax. Or perhaps I do both. Given that we have the extra capacity, we have 2 Legion of Wax floors. One where it just fills up the entire space, one where there's a slot left, and then we have 1 floor that is our Lady of the House with the sweeper behind, and either the Animus or Speed or the Little Fade, sort of depending on exactly what we're doing. Perhaps we just end up ignoring the Animus entirely here, but I will take this. Grab our champion upgrade. So we're definitely looking at this Extinguish one. Since we picked up the card, that makes that even better. And yeah, we're not interested in spikes. The remove is easy, at least. That's certainly don't have space for Train Stewards these days. And then yeah, we just have to decide whether we'd rather try to make our champion pop a little bit more or go with this crazy double Legion of Wax plan. You know what, I have no idea this will work, but it sounds like a heck of a lot of fun, so let's have 2 Legion of Wax floors, lots of spikes. Alright, and given that, enemies on each floor don't scare me as much, because we are likely to get a spiky creature to stop them. These should still be pretty weak, so... And indeed they are. Okay, so we are going to be looking to play this on the top just to minimize pyre damage, and that looks like that's our small floor, which is okay. We should get to play our whole hand here, if I'm not mistaken. You still go on the bottom, I believe. Yep, real reason to not do that. Put you at the top. Spike these guys to death. And then, no real reason to send any of this. I don't believe... Well, I could Dripfall this just so we don't get the weight. I can extinguish... Yeah, that actually sounds okay to me here. I'll Dripfall that for the days, and then give this a bunch of extra stats. Maybe we don't even have it die at all this fight. It's already at 70. If we draw that card again, it's going to be at 100 and something. It's more than enough. And that just avoids us getting junk in our deck and kills the tank right away, which is great. Okay. So it looks like we might be letting it die anyway, but you know, that's okay. It'll cost 2 the next time. We can afford that. Unfortunately, I don't think we can get this collector. The spikes aren't quite strong enough. But I will still stick you on this floor. And just fire off some more root seeds. Okay, and looking at these extinguish triggers, a thought occurs to me that has probably occurred to some of you already, and you might be yelling at your TVs here, is that we can use our Intent on Death to summon additional units with this, which is kind of bonkers. Quite possibly even better than pumping our hero, so I will be trying that when this card comes back around. I will certainly be looking to give that card holdover, or at least improving and copying it. Okay, we are not getting any luck on our Shattered Shell, but not a ton we can do about it at this point. So, play our Lady at the front here. Kind of hoping to make this free, but if not, it doesn't really matter too much anyway. I'm not going to play this because I would rather have the Sweeper. I will continue to buff these guys, and might as well give her extra burnout and get you to the front. Yep, that's what I've got. Does unfortunately look like this big guy here is going to make it. Let's see, he's right now taking 26. So 53, 47. Can we do 17 extra damage to it? Doesn't seem like it. So no reason to really do anything there. There's Shattered Shell. And I will go ahead and make that one stronger as well. What we got there. Well, damage. Our Votivary not accomplishing a lot these days. I will throw the Entombed Explosive here in the front. No reason not to. And then just continue buffing. And the boss is dying on the first floor thanks to our champion just being massive. So, sure, I'll extend your lifetime, why not? And call that a day. So this is a fascinating plan to me. I had not considered extinguishing on the legions before. That could be a lot of fun. Alright, we definitely don't need more units. And I don't think we need another reform. We don't have that much to reform anyway, so let's give out and all that. Here we can get a big heal and some regen, spikes, or a way to get extra energy. Again, I don't think we're in that much of need for energy. The heal's interesting. We could try to keep these alive a little longer, or sometimes it's useful in Our Lady of the House, and we can make it free with the liquor, which is cool. So when you play a unit, it's a summoning one. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And the spikes also could be interesting on the Lady or the Legion, but not that good because the Lady has a chance of dying and being reformed, and the others, it doesn't carry over to small ones. So I don't think I'm interested in either of these. The Awake, I might pick up. Yeah, I think that's okay. I don't think I would pick it up without the liquor, but the fact that we can make it free is kind of a big deal. Okay, and here we have a pretty interesting choice. Duplicating the Intent on Death would be excellent. and cave events could serve to further improve our 2 Legions of Wax, which would be good. That being said, the Merchant of Magic could give us holdover on the 10-ton death, which would just be absolutely game over. And the Unstable Vortex is also good. We really need to remove a number of units from our deck. And I think I will go to the left for the more... well, not the more sure thing. This is the more sure thing. This is sort of the chance for the higher payout, and I'm willing to take that chance. We have Permafrost, not exactly what we're looking for. We could maybe freeze the Awake, save it for a turn when we need it. But I'm not that excited about it. Could make it cheaper. That's also okay. I definitely will be re-rolling here, but I'm deciding if I want to buy any of these. We have quite a bit of gold. I actually think rather than reducing the cost on Awake, I'll reduce more things to 0 and increase the chances we can hit Awake with the Liquor. I'm still quite happy to cast Root Seeds every time we see it come up, so go ahead and do that. I don't know if I want to consume any of these. They all play a role, and the Permafrost I think is too expensive for what it accomplishes. We didn't get holdover, that's unfortunate. We can get 10 extra magic power. We'll do that in Vine Grasp. We can just kill a thing. And now I'll go ahead and make this cheaper, because that 100% playing that card every single time it comes up. Get rid of these Stewards. And then decide if we want to get rid of more stuff with some money. We're almost certainly heading this way. We really, really want to get that holdover, and as I mentioned, cave events can be quite good for us as well. So I don't want to spend too much, but I'll purge one more card here. And I think it might actually be the Animus of Speed. I think I mentioned this in some of my other runs, but there's a mechanic in Monster Train where each turn you're guaranteed to draw one of your non-starter minions that is still in your deck. You can draw more than one, but you're always guaranteed to draw at least the one. And right now we don't even want to play Animus of Speed, so it's really very much in the way of us drawing the important units in the deck. So even though there are worse cards than it in the deck, I'm going to remove it for that reason. Just pause the recording for a moment here. Apologies if you're hearing notifications in the back. Alright, so we are continuing our adventure, again saving our cash for the next circle, so let's see how this next battle goes. Multi-strike on enemy units for a random artifact. We have the Stealthy Marksman, though if we can get one of our legions on the bottom, the multi-strike won't matter on them, they'll just immediately get killed. Scary on the big guys, they can be hard to eliminate, but I think I'm going to give this a try. The spikes just make enough of a difference here. Okay, we draw our legion, so definitely pop that on the bottom floor here. Yep, that's fine. And then go ahead and play this card so that the Awake is the one that gets hit with the reduction. And we just have to decide if we want our champion to die once or not. And I think we do, so we'll just go ahead and toss that in the front. Although that would mean this guy doesn't die to spikes. Or no, because of double strike, it's the loss, that's okay. And then we'll just throw some regen on here, why not? Okay, it's a little unfortunate, but we can get over that fact. So we are at a minor issue with the energy here. That said, the Liquor should really help us out, so We'll start by setting up the bottom floor, and this time we are just going to go in the back. Fantastic. And this should just chain into a whole bunch of free spells. Do that, and we're already set up, so that's great. I will be buffing this one, I think, just because this one's likely to die early on, not to mention the boss, or it wasn't the stealth boss actually, so that's not a big deal, but you know what, as much as I'd like to get more attack on that, well, maybe that's better actually. I mean, honestly, I just want to do this because I haven't had an opportunity to before, and it sounds really cool. So let's just do it and see what that does for us. Okay, looks like we're killing the front guy now, and this guy's unfortunately still healing. But this looks like an intimidating floor. I'll tell you that much. Our sweep creature looking a little bit silly here, but that's okay. Unfortunately, we drew a really bad hand. So, yeah, I guess now I've put these guys in the front, I've changed my mind. I'm going to buff the bottom one here. Well. Alright, we get to cleanse our lady so she doesn't die. That's good. This guy's dying. So we're doing just fine there. No reason to let these guys get their attacks off. So I will, I think, grasp one. And then we got the cleanse, sure. And you know what, let's just make you deal as much damage as we can here. And this honestly looks pretty messed up. I'm glad I noticed that synergy. I'm sure a lot of you were yelling at me before I did, but... Alright, so yeah, now our objective is to give this holdover or multiply it as much as possible. And it looks like that's how we're going to win. No room for any of you. Play this so we can get our card draw, and I don't think we care about any of these other cards. And I imagine the boss will just easily die here. Run up the score a little bit as I can. Call that good. And Spike's doing quite a bit of damage, not to mention our minion in the back there. And we got a Priory's Cloak for our troubles. When the unit's healed, we deal damage. Not the best, obviously. We have pretty limited healing, but it is better than the gold. We do have a couple of ways to heal, so pick that up. Don't think I'm interested in any of these. Again, Reform's looking bad in our deck already. The Fatal Melting, we're not looking to have that many units die, which is why Reform cards are bad, and Subsuming Blade keeps showing up late, unfortunately, on my runs. I do like this card if you can pick it up early, but by Circle 5, not really what you're looking for. Let's see. This is useless. We have one healing spell that costs mana. This we already have one of, and it hasn't been great. We did end up picking the Vine Grasp to sort of fill the role we needed, so I don't think I want a second one. And in Graph, no healing synergies other than our Cloak, but making this hit for one, not really what we're in the market for, so pretty easy skip. And no duplicate here. Yeah, we've already talked about we're going to go this way. Still really hoping to see holdover. We got Permafrost. Okay. We can further reduce cost or give magic power. Let's see. I'm gonna continue making these 0. It's just handy to be able to play them every turn. I don't even know if magic power is good on anything, but I guess there's no reason not to do it on Vine Grasp. So sure. Okay, and we got pulled over. That is the best news we could have possibly hoped for. So that means as soon as we draw this card, we just have so much that we can do every turn. We'll need to be a little bit careful when we get the final boss, obviously devouring our spells, but luckily we have all these root seeds and these moldeds that we don't care about losing, so we'll have to be sure not to remove too many of them from the deck, but there's still a couple other good cards we can happily get rid of. And then we got more of this. I could improve the magic power on the Purifying Cleanse, could do something. I will make more root seeds free. Let's see, I should check these other things before I do anything else. Winged Seal drawing us extra cards, or Combustible Wax giving us extra burnout. I don't think I'm interested in extra burnout all that much. It only affects Lady. So we'll go for the extra card draw. Pretty nice. Let's see what we have in the cave. This good old classic here. So I've talked about my thoughts on this in another video, I think. I generally prefer dropping stuff and making it climb through my damage rather than ascending it to the pyre. The Flicker's Liquor makes this a little bit better because there's a chance we can cast it for free, and obviously that makes it quite a bit stronger, but I still don't see a lot of reason I would want to do this over this, and it's not always going to be free, so I will once again go with the doors. And then we just have to decide if we want to spend the last of our cash on more magic power. I'm gonna save that piddly amount of gold because we are heading to a Merchant of Steel the next round, and I'm going to be looking to do something with this Lady of the House and the sweep unit to make them contribute in a better way than they are currently. So, here we go. Spell shields and armor. Spell shields shouldn't matter too much, obviously. The armor could maybe be an issue, just because big units with the statues in the way as well can be hard to kill. But that said, we got our Legion, and we have to decide whether we want it on the bottom versus our Shattered Shell. I think, well, let's see about that. Yeah, you know, it kind of makes sense to make our 5th floor the middle, I think. But we can look to replay our champion, maybe. That is going to be hard to afford if we pop in with a couple of the improvements. Yeah, the shell does get a lot better if you play it on the bottom. It'll actually get slay triggers. So that's something to consider. Yeah, I guess that's better. So we'll just do this. Toss him out there to die, as usual, and sure, let's give you. Oh yeah, we get to draw extra cards, of course. Again, these spells are useless. I guess this is the punishment. So now they don't die to spikes, whereas they would have before. But if they get through the pyre, it's not the end of the world. And here, we are definitely going to be looking to play all of our bottom shelf units, and once again, looks like we get to just kind of play out our whole hand. Thanks to the liquor. So we'll go ahead and get you in the back. Get our sweep going. Draw an extra card, fantastic. Get another Legion up here, and no reason not to play this, I suppose. There's room for it. And keep getting it back every turn to make stuff free, and that seems okay to me. Plus it gives some extra armored lady for the boss and whatnot. And here, finally, maybe get a chance to use Drip Ball. Could drip our extra Legion, but I do actually think we want them on separate floors here. But I'm happy to drop one of these guys. Make him take a hit from the spikes, or rather from the sweep, and then another hit from the spikes up here. I guess I'll root one of them too, like, there's not a ton of reason not to. We've gotten through some of the statues here. This guy's gonna make it, but at 2 damage, I'm not very worried about that. Yeah, I'll even play this up here. Get the statue killed a little bit quicker. Yeah, keep replaying our Votivary. I do want to extend the burnout on this, even though it'll give him armor. And then, oh, it's not incant on that floor for now. Not willing to use my shoot here. There's a chance I'll have to... Well, maybe I need to just do that right now. So let's see what's going to happen. This statue's not even dying, which is not great. So I actually think I will drop him as well. And yeah, the armor getting in the way a bit, our spike strategy. Okay, just keep on pumping that floor, pretty annoying. But we did get our intent on death. Not sure how this Covenant thing works, if I intent on death this, if the creatures will be stunned or not. Let's see if we can find that list here. Add a copy, your pirate takes damage. Friendly units on the top floor enter with dazed. So I think if I do this, they will come in dazed. So maybe I do it down here instead. Yeah, I think I like that better. It doesn't can't, but it means I get to clear both of these and hit this guy. That's good. Playing this. Then I could move one of these to the front. That's kind of interesting. Actually, this just straight up kills it too. Unfortunately, it would buff the other one, so it doesn't actually save us anything unless we can find some other solution here. But it doesn't look like we're able to. So I guess there's not a ton of reason to do that. So we'll just, well, it's not incant on that floor yet again. Oh, we got our molded. That might actually do something. So I'm going to play our explosive. Now 2 of them are dying, so we can kill the last one and clear both. That's good news. And do that. Alright, keep playing this for free. Extending our burnout, of course. You aren't dying. I don't like that very much. There's not a ton we can do, though. I will use this on the champ for now. You get some bigger hits. continue improving our big units. And I guess maybe this lets us kill. No, it actually is too healthy now. Let's see who's missing the most health. Looks like you. Gosh, this armor. But that's alright. Play you once again, even though it's a trigger, I don't think it'll matter much. And you know what, let's just make this floor crazy. Let's give him a few more buffs. Yeah, let's just do that once more. Now we have, what, 5 units there, so we can maybe take a break on that floor, but that looks pretty gross considering all of these are going to break apart further, so I really like that. Heal you, and let's hold stun you. Sure. Yeah, let's, I don't know, do that floor now? Sure. Go ahead and give this guy a few buffs as well, and make more of these. This is something. Guess our draw, and you know what, hit the boss on that. Alright, looks like those came in without stuns, that's good to know for the future. Alright, I'm actually happy we're not killing on the first floor, because I really want to see these just absolutely go off. Not sure there's a lot of reason to play that one, but why the heck not? And then, yeah, it's super won't matter, but hey, there we are. So your plan of replaying the champion on later floors has taken a backseat to whatever the heck is going on here. Yeah, let's go ahead and kill the boss here. Just a million little candles. So it does take us a moment to get set up. Boy, once we do, stuff starts really going. Bounty Stalker would have fit our theme of extinguishing for profit, but we have far better profit than it at this point. The channel song I'm not super interested in. As cool as it would be to make one of the legions have +20/+20, the timing on it just often doesn't work out. It can be a dead card, so easy skip for me. And we don't need space now, so it's a question between draw and energy. I feel like energy hasn't been an issue. We've made so many of our cards 0, and the primitive molds we just don't really cast, so I think I will go for even more draw. Our magic merchant versus our steel, and we'll go for the steel merchant, try to make our other units do something. And for the artifact, 2 units get 30 health and burnout. You're not a tomb unit, so it's literally just this guy who we're probably removing from the deck anyway. So that's no good. The vapor funnel is probably alright. We do sometimes leak kind of low health guys that can help us prevent some damage to the pyre. I'm gonna stick with this on our champion. now like 2 hits and he's completely insane. Okay. So we like extra attack on the sweeper. That's definitely good. We could do a wake stone on the lady, but it's a pretty bad buff in terms of stats. So I don't know if I care about that. We have 3 slots to fill. Because there's a chance we get another something like endless that we just don't want here. We also don't have infinite money, but this is just not impactful enough, I think. Okay, this is a little more interesting. Quick on the sweep unit is great. These buffs would also be good on either of the units. I'm gonna go for quick. I think that's powerful enough. It's unfortunate we don't get to quite finish buffing, but you know, the lady being a little weaker is mostly okay. With the quick there, she won't be getting hit that much. We have heals for her, and worst case, we reform her. So even if she doesn't get improved for the rest of the run, which is possible since there's not that much run left, and we're almost certainly going this way for a duplicate, just not that worried about it. Our broken stuff is happening elsewhere, I guess is the thing I'm trying to say. Okay, so 20 armor. Again, that makes support units a little tougher. We have the Ember Drain guy, so our energy is going to be limited. Is the sweep going to be a problem? You have 10 health. You get +5 every time you die. 20 armor, huh? I think we don't chance it. The Ember Drain is a little too scary. The sweep might kill some of our units. There's a good chance we get into this battle and completely crush it. I'm going to look silly for not taking this 400 gold, but really, I am not looking for much for the final boss fight. If I can get to a Hellvent, I'm happy enough, so I'm okay going to the final circle pour and just being a little bit safe here. Okay, and as always, start with our champion, and then decide where we go from there. And I think we'll unfortunately be taking the energy penalty. Might actually play the top floor one first in case we get a collector up there. Make sure we can actually get at least some value. So that's fine. And then we'll get our lady here in the front. And of course, just collect all that. I want to ensnare you. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Well, actually, no. He has so much health, and if he gets the pyre, he dies pretty without doing a lot of damage, so I think I'm actually gonna skip out on the ensnare. Card looking pretty awkward there, unfortunately. And the collector did in fact show up on the top floor, so we're really glad we played that there. We are in a slightly sticky situation here mana-wise already, as our Legion of Wax is of course expensive, and we do want to get these other creatures down. I am going to play the others first, I think. Hope I hit the Legion. If I don't, we'll just have to be sad. Alright, not so far. And we get quite unlucky there, but you know, we draw a lot of cards, we'll cycle back around to it. Should be okay. And getting our champion down to get that big damage going is quite important, I think. Okay, here, I do still want to keep playing this for the trigger. And I am going to be looking to stun this just to avoid the Ember Drain and the damage to our champion. And yeah, since we only got one floor of these set up, I think it could be beneficial to us to go ahead and make more of them, although it does mean we'll take more Ember Drain this turn, which I'm less happy about. I suppose you I can toss out, no reason not to. I also drop and stun this right now. I actually don't hate that. I'll have two of them stunned down here. They're getting a bit of a sweep. They'll probably still both end up making it to the top, but we're avoiding a bunch of Ember Drain, which is great. We have our chance to set up a bit more of this floor. Okay. So again, look to buff this guy. I'll give our champion one buff just in case he gets hit by a sweep later. Make sure he can survive that. Get a root seed's great, and grass mercy gets the front. No idea how the math works out. Let's move the weaker one to the front here. Hope that does something. Alright, pretty lucky here. Look at this. Replay our Legion. Let's see. We're okay with having absolutely no mana next turn. Because I could drop this one and take all the Ember Drain on both these floors. I guess these are getting double Ember Drain if I don't do anything. So I might as well do this. Then I will make more of you. And heal you. Unfortunately, no room for the other guy. That's okay. Play this. Didn't hit what we wanted. That sucks, but it's okay. Just go ahead and play a couple of buffs. Purify you and yeah, I'll root this guy. That sounds fine. And once again, not really a lot we can do, but it doesn't matter too much. As the boss is already dying. So. Alright, so we did okay. Yeah, probably could have ended up taking the trial there, but I'm okay with our decision not to. Mentamori, once again, we don't have that many units dying. Don't care about reforming, and we don't have room for any more of you. Cycle of Life is interesting. It is a stat change for the Legions of Wax. I believe the 10 health would carry over the smaller ones, and the spikes are kind of cool. Yeah, you know what, I'll take it. I think the other selections I talked about previously, just not stuff we're really all that interested in. Okay, go this way. I assume we can't afford anything in this store, but take a quick look. And nothing super exciting anyway. Then, is there anything we want to improve? Make something cheaper. You know what? Yeah, let's continue the theme here. Of course, duplicate our intent on death. That's fantastic. And like, I guess we might as well spend out perma-freeze. What has its moments? I guess this, sure. And now I'll give 10 magic power to a Clemens. Alright. Let's see what we encounter in the final boss fight. Of course, other than spell consumption. Not entirely sure what kind of enemies we're getting. Okay, it's just the enemies that add things to our deck. A little bit annoying, but so bad. And we drew one of these right away, which is fantastic. We even have a spell to jump in the way of the consume trigger. So really we're in fantastic shape to begin, I think. I think I'm going to try just setting up on the bottom floor here. Put our champion in the back and just assume that I'll be able to get him going with this. So start with him. Yep, we made one of these free, so that's great. And then play our Legion at the top. And now, yeah, you know what? I really don't care about primitive mold. I'd rather that get consumed than anything else. So let's get that out of here. We're gonna be looking to multiply this guy for sure. So I'm gonna buff him initially. The question is whether I'd buff him right away. I think the champion is more important for now. Get the damage going. Okay. Might as well play the lady here. And the entombed explosive. It's nice that these are also getting free. These will be kind of a problem later, but for now they're okay. I'd rather keep a root seeds than a razor sharp, so toss that out. Toss the root seeds down here, and go ahead and put some stuff in front of this guy now. Our sweeper will still be helpful on the second floor to clean up these 10 health guys. Even though it'll obviously be a lot worse than previously. Just toss them out there. Get this out for hand. Fine. And I guess now we'll be consuming root seeds. That's okay. And I'll take 1 damage to play both my holdover cards, as they're both quite strong here. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can do this one more time. We have a lot of units. Our champion has utterly disappeared. I am looking to buff him still. And I think I'm happy with that result. Alright, we drove Artillery, that's probably good just because it makes something cheap. Unfortunately it's a mold, though the mold's doing something at least. It does look like Our Lady of the House is dying. Bummer, but I'm not too worried about it. So I think we'll probably consume this Vine Grasp somewhere. Sure, let's preserve some damage up here. That seems fine. And I will get rid of this. Gives me more draw, great. Need to apply this to you a couple times before we get going there. Then, yeah, at this point, I'm not sure how much of this really matters. Our champion's going to kill the boss in just a few hits, so I'm just trying to leak as little as possible. I'll probably multiply the top floor here shortly, but for now, just keep stacking that to a complete absurdity. Yeah, sure, let's go out there, why not? Okay, I'm happy to sim one of these. We got our lady back, so toss her out, give her more burnout. Then keep playing these. Let's see, yeah, I can afford to make you slightly stronger. And just multiply the crap out of you. There we are. Looks like they might finally work their way through one of the candles. Not super worried about that. Right. And we'll get rid of this ensnare. It's really not doing a whole lot. Let's see. Yeah, I'll ensnare you. Why not? Not sure how much of any of this matters. As we get our champion up close to the 1000 range. Get this out of here. All right. Can't imagine this will matter ever again. Yeah, and let's just go and make our champion deal 1125 damage a hit. That's okay. I'm alright with that. Alright. And you know what? I'll stun you. Why not? Alright, final wave. I think we're okay here. I'll stun you for good measure. Just go ahead and give us 1265 attack. And, you know, we managed to find something pretty busted to do this time around. That was a lot of fun. Oh, I missed one of these shards. We'll take a damage. Oh, well. Alright. Well, thank you for joining me on another trip down through hell, and that one went pretty okay. The Legion of Wax paying quite the dividends. We golded a card. Fantastic. Alright, that was a fun run. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back for more.